The Nasty Collective Podcast. Yeah, I said the Nasty Collective Podcast. What we talking about?
Gucci, everybody. Welcome back to the Nasty Collective Podcast. I forgot what number we're on, but we got the man of the motherfucking hour. I've been trying to do this interview for the longest fucking time. Daniel, remind me how to say your last name again.
It's Aquino.
Daniel Aquino.
Yep. Aquino.
Introduce yourself to all of us.
Well, hell, man. I don't know. I guess I'm just a regular guy, homie.
Yeah. I guess, look, I'll introduce him a little bit. So you be throwing like shows. You used to have your own record. If not, you still have it. Yeah. But yeah, he has like his own record label. He throws shows. You know, he's the guy that you go to if you want to throw a show here in Sioux City, straight up. Like that's what your reputation here is, you know?
Right.
But you work with like a lot of artists out here. You're just like really in tune with like the whole industry almost, you know, within the Sioux City industry and the artistry. But so like, let's say back then with the record label, let's start with that because I'm really interested in that.
Yeah.
So Forewarned.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
How'd that come to be?
Well,
and when was that you started that?
Forewarned's been around for a long time. It was actually my graphics designer at the time, Josh Worth. He had a brand called Forewarned Clothing.
Oh wow!
And he did really well with it, and it just he put it away for a while, so it was just more like an apparel type thing. You know, it was he was based out of Michigan and whatnot.
Oh, okay.
But you know, I was really close with him. I've worked with him for several years, and I just popped out the idea because I was thinking about putting a record label for like the longest time, dude. I go back like to like 2011, 2012 with the idea of a record label type thing.
What gives you that idea? Like what? Why even think that? Like, I don't think the normal guy would be thinking that, you know what I mean? So like,
I just think, man, if you know, I always had the vision of like, you know, having a record label is just like it's also a brand at the same time. You know,
true.
I look at like a lot of the independent record labels, like my most one that I ever paid attention to was Strange Music. I mean, look at the following that they have. That's Tech Nine's record label.
Yeah.
You know, the
Strange Music's making moves out here straight up.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. They got some really good people on there.
Absolutely. And like I said, I mean, the way they carry their brand, you know, they're like, they take it everywhere with them. You know, they're like Strange Music this, Strange that.
Got the chain and shit.
Yeah, exactly. They got the pendants and whatnot. I mean, you met Joey Cool at the show that we did.
I actually didn't meet him.
You didn't? Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
But Joey Cool is pretty badass. I know that much.
Yeah.
I met Jerry Robinson. Shout out Jerry Robinson.
Jerry Robinson over at the Whiskey Dick show. Yep.
Pretty cool guy.
But yeah, no, just like it's just the brand itself. It's legit, man. Like, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be music, but it was just like, it's like it's almost like a family all the way around, definitely. You know, anytime you see a lot of these, you know, like all these Strange Music cats, you know, they're always, you know, almost like they already know each other because of all the history, you know, just all the music stuff that they listen to. So that's kind of why, you know, the whole Forewarned idea came around. I told my graphics designer, I was like, hey, you know, how would you like the idea if I used it as a record label and just call it Forewarned Records? He was all about it. So he's like, yeah, do whatever you want with it, man. Absolutely. You know, it's just kind of keep me in the loop with everything that's going on. And you know, that's how it came about. And then, I remember one time I worked at Billy and Otto at the time, and it was like after a Christmas party, and we were over at Princess over on the west side. And oh, dude, I was fucking plastered, man. I was just fucking drunk. And then I went up to the bar. I went up to the bar and to get another drink, and you know that's where like this dude was. You know, this guy was just sitting there, and then he just looked at me. He's just like rough night type, you know, just said something like that. And it was C-Note. Yeah, I mean that was C-Note at the time, you know, and we just,
it would be C-Note to us. Yeah, definitely. C-Note's out here fucking talkative as hell. You know, he does be getting like really like cool with everybody too. You know,
yeah.
He walks in the room and like he definitely like introduces himself to people. You know what I mean?
Right. No,
so
absolutely.
Cool. Shout out C-Note.
Absolutely. And you know, I mean, we chopped it up a bit, and then you know he was you know the first artist I worked with under 401 Records and whatnot.
Nice, really. So was he signed on to 401?
He was at the time.
Wow.
You know, it was just an agreement deal, man. And you know,
awesome.
You know, just few, you know, the 2 years went by because we started in 2017, and then 2019 hit, and we had a little bit of a fallout kind of type thing. And, you know, it is what it is. You know, I told him he can take all the music that we did together, whatever. I didn't care, you know, as long as he credited me, but he didn't. It is what it is, you know, I'll say it, but whatever.
Damn, man. Gotta make it right.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is, you know. But yeah, no, it just kind of, that was my deal with him. But, you know, aside from everything else, just the record label itself, like I just wanted that brand that everybody can be a part of. You know, it was always like this thing that we was that I would say is like the how it goes, like for love, for life, for war type thing.
Oh shit!
So that was kind of a decent motto. You know, I had a business card and even said at the very bottom said for love, for life, for war type thing. So it was pretty.
You like try to live by that shit.
Yeah, exactly. Right. You know, and I mean, it was just everything was. I don't know. It's just like it was just like the perfect number. So everything lined up with it. You know, it was dope.
I seen that when, like, because how many people have you had in total signed to the record, if you know, like, the number?
Shit, man. And you know what? That was actually my biggest downfall, man. That was like, that was my biggest mistake that I ever did, was got too big too quick type thing.
Oh, okay.
And it just got to the, I think it added up to like 17 acts at one point.
Really?
Yeah, because I mean, you gotta think about it. I had the 402 at the time, which was, you
Shout
know,
out that 402 music group.
Yeah,
that was pretty lit,
which was 3 guys in one. So you had Victor, you had Rick, and then you had Jerry Dobbs. But at the same time, we were working on solo. I was working on solo music for all those guys too. Okay. So that alone, right there, was just 4 acts. You know, so you got the 402, then you got Jerry. Yeah, exactly. So there's 4. And then, yeah, I mean, then you had Fetty Fred, and then you had, you know, his rap group that we tried doing something with called About That Life. It was him and his homie Poetic. Okay. You know, so that alone, that's another 3 right there. So you had Fetty Fred, Poetic, and then you had BTL pretty much.
Right.
And it kept building up from there and there. So, but yeah.
What was the feeling of like everybody, the crowd and everything? Like, what experience did you get? Like, what'd you learn out of signing up so many people like that?
Don't ever do something like that ever again. You know, for me, there's so much talent out there, man, that like, you know, if you put some of these cats like with, you know, I shouldn't say professional engineers, because I mean everybody's great here in town. You know, you got Dylan Foote, you got Briar Burns. They're great, you know, great engineers with their mixing and mastering too. But like,
fuck too.
Yeah.
You hear some nice shit out of that.
But with me, it was always going to, you know, at the time, Mike Dresch was his name. He had a studio up in Sioux Falls called Cat House Studios. Okay. A legendary recording studio, man. Like a lot of people from Sioux City went up there, and Mike Dresch was just a great guy. But, you know, the guy had 20 plus years in the industry. Yeah. So, I mean, these guys,
an expert.
Like, I mean, so, you know, these guys have the experience of like, okay, you know, let's make it sound like this, and they'll know how to do the mastering process correctly. So that way there's the sound effects, you know, are equal all the way around. So it's just a nice, clean, like literally radio quality mix of the song, essentially.
Did you guys have like your go-to, like when you had your artists on, were you like more involved with that? Were like setting up their like recording process, or like
I would always go to every single studio session. Oh, okay. Yeah, I would always go.
But are you like the one, like did you guys have a specific person that you guys like were like, yeah, that's the guy that we like are using for now, and like he's our go-to, like he's the man? Yeah,
that was Mike Dresch for like the mixing and mastering stuff. Yeah, recording. Yep, we would all everything that we did with the record label, it was mixed and mastered by Mike Dresch out in Cat House Studios. So he was our only guy that we ever used.
Really?
Yep.
Okay, and then like, how about right now? Like, I've recently seen that you vouch for Freddie Fred a lot, you know? Yeah. Like, is he something like more assigned, or is it just like more of like, you know that this guy has talent, you're just trying to push him out? Or
I mean, Fred and I, bro, like, I mean, he's one of my day ones, homie. I mean, that's my brother at the end of the day. You know, I manage all this music, and you know, it was just we always kept that bond of, you know, we always had each other's backs, you know, and we always do shit for each other, man. Like if I need help, he'll help me. If he needs help, I'll do whatever I can to help him too. Yeah. So at first it was more that music relationship, but then it just turned into like our brotherhood relationship, man. Like I mean, that's my brother at the end of the day. So you know, every time we go to a show, it will always be like, you know, like he's Fred, I'm Fetty, or or he's like, he's Fetty, I'm Fred type shit. You know, it's just a dope relationship I have with him, man. And, but
that's what music can do, is like really bring people together like that. Is like really that long-term friendship just from like showing up and having something to correlate with music from each other, you know?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. No, like I said, man, at the end of the day, the guy's my brother, man. And, yeah, I mean, that's that.
So then, like, at the moment, do you think that you'll ever bring back either Fort Warren or another record, another label?
You know, I did think about it. I do want to bring back the record label this year.
Oh, nice.
Not at the extent of what I did it before, though, because I mean that was like the way I was doing it. Again, it was just I got too big, too quick type thing, and it got way out of my control, you know. And then it just started becoming like more financially draining. Because I mean, fuck, dude, to make money in music it's ridiculously hard. You know, you don't make money off your streams. I mean, unless you're doing millions of streams, then you're financially probably going to do okay. But you know, if you got your 1,000 streams here, 10,000 streams there, I mean, that ain't gonna pay shit, you know. But
so where is the money in music?
I think honestly, merch, and probably, you know, throwing your own shows. I mean, I think at that point, I mean, that's where you're gonna make all your money.
It's just more intuitive with the crowd and like the community itself.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's where the money's at in the music industry anymore nowadays. It has to be in the live performances and merchandise at the end of the day.
Speaking of them shows, what like, why is the reason that you're the one that's throwing all these shows out here? You know what I mean? Why are you like the planner of all these shit? Like, is it just that you like have been doing it for so long, and like even starting out to do that, what makes you want to like throw a show? Is that all from the record?
You know, when I had throwing shows, it was just. It's always a weird experience for me because, you know, obviously every show is different. It's never going to be the same. You know, I've had some shows that we did really great, and I've had some shows where it was literally nobody. It was just artists and their plus ones type thing. So I mean, there's been complete flop shows. But I mean, I guess I don't know. It's just it's for me when I throw shows. Recently, when I've been throwing shows, man, I just kind of. I don't know. It's just been different. Why a lot of these bars go to me is probably just because I've been doing it for so many years, and they would just ask me, hey, this date's open. Do you want to do something? Or, you know, if I have something coming up, you know, I'll ask them, and they're more than happy to work with me too on that.
Is that like, so then is it more of so you're not more like, okay, so how do you go about these shows where it's like you're planning these shows? Like, how do you start it? Like, why even do like this show or that show? Is it just because like the love for music, or is it?
I think it's more the love for music, man. Yep. You know, I'm not. You know, over the last couple of years, bro, I mean, just becoming more of a family person. I'm not in touch with, you know, what's going on in town as much anymore. You know, like I'm every time I throw these shows, it always seems like it's always the same people. Because I mean, truthfully, that's all the people that I know. You know, you have a lot of these newcomers that, you know, I wish I had the time to get to know better, so we can say, hey, you know, let's throw you on this show. Let's try to do this, try to do that.
Sure.
You know, unfortunately, I don't have the time like I used to be able to do something like that. You know, but that's why you have other people like, down in Omaha, you know, that dedicate themselves to do this shit, man. I mean, they live and breathe for this. Justin Strawstone, dude, he does a hell of a job putting all these other shows. He'll put them on in Omaha. He'll put them on here, and he'll put them on here in Sioux City. Like, he'll bring King ISO, and I think April 1st he has a show with Table of Truth coming up here as well too.
Damn.
And then, you know, this other person that I was working with out of Iowa, I forgot. I think it was like Ames, Iowa, or I forgot where she's at now. But her name is Jenna Smith with Corrupted Promotions. You know, they live and breathe this stuff, man. So they're more in tune with like, so they're more in tune with how to properly prepare for these shows. And like, okay, I'm gonna get these artists here, I'm gonna get these artists there. So, you know, at the end of the day, I mean, those are the people that I kind of do look up to. That I know I like to see how they're doing things, and then, you know, try to do it for a show here in town. But I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just my heart is not as in it as it used to be for shows as much, man. But I still like to do them here and there just for the love of music, you know.
I will say that exactly that last statement you just said, where it's like you look at them and then you're like, oh, okay, how should I go about my shows?
Yeah.
Like, the only reason I threw a show is because I was like watching you and watching a couple other people, like when you guys were throwing your show.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, I was like, I know a couple people that like make music, you know?
Yeah.
I think I can do this. And the only reason I wanted to do the show is because I was like, I'm 21 and I'm going to turn 22 here soon. I want to make sure like in my like bio, in my long-term bio, it says like, oh, he threw his first show at 21. You know? Like that sounds pretty clean to me. So I was like, fuck it. I got to make sure I throw that shit, you know?
Yep.
And even like, I did see some like shit to do later on, like what kind of things to look out for and like what kind of like variables there could be to shows. And like the beginning of my show, it was like nobody was there. And then when like time went by and I was like, okay, people are showing up. But by the main act, which was New Age Crisis, shout out.
Everybody was gone.
No, actually, so the thing is like what I saw is that they had the biggest crowd.
Okay.
They were the biggest crowd, okay? But, like, the only reason they were the biggest crowd is because they had, like, a community already based off of them.
Right.
Where, like, people would show up to their show no matter where the fuck they were, you know? So it's like, when those people showed up, they only came for the main act. You know what I mean? So it was only that time where it was, like, the biggest crowd. Right. And what I seen is that, like, people show up for what the name they know, at least locally, you know? It's not like here I went to a Tyler Creator event the other day and I watched Kali Uchis and Vince Staples, but I didn't show up for them, but I was still like, fuck it, we're going to watch both of their acts, you know? Right. But here locally, it's like, if you see that your homie is like the last up, you're going to wait for the homie who's last up, you know? Yep. You're not going to go early as fuck to see the rest of the acts. Yeah. At least normally. Yeah. And, I guess that's kind of what happened. And in my head, I'm just like, I need to play it better where I know what kind of groups will show up to the next one, or else I need to like do the more social media thing where like more ears are getting, are hearing about it and shit like that. Because like the beginning, I really needed to have the people there. Like somehow I needed to like figure that out where it's like either maybe I should have opened the doors earlier or like maybe put the time later. Who knows, you know, but like, definitely, like, that's one thing. And then definitely, like, the people that I was working with, I needed, like, a little more professional of a staff because, like, I employed some more, like, family type and then, like, some people that I barely knew because I got, like, referred to a guy and he was supposed to be my security guard and he fucking took my money and dipped that day.
No shit. Yeah. What show was this?
The Let It Snow by NASTYCO. You showed up for a little bit.
That snow one. Yeah.
Shit. So he was my security guard and paid him $50. You know, that ain't really shit, but, you know, $50 for the night. Right. And you're supposed to stand around and he showed up, fucking dipped 10 minutes later, never saw him again. And
no shit.
Deleted me on Facebook and shit. You little hoe, but it's okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, man. I asked for my money. That's fucked up, man. Never got my $50 back.
Fuck that.
I'm telling you, man. People like to take advantage of you, but it's like you have to see these variables. You have to see these variables for what they are, and then like for the next one, I know now. You know, like I'm gonna wait on that shit. You know, like.
I mean, usually, I don't mean to cut you off, but like usually for like the door people, I always have my certain people that I go to. Like I mean, mainly the one person that I use is Lizzie. You know, she's
really?
Yeah, I mean, dude, she's always down to do every show that I'm doing. You know, just nice. she shows love, man. She's like a little sister to me, man. She's cool. She's dope. She'll stay there the whole night and. You know, she'll do everything, man. She'll do all like the tally marks of like how many people showed up, how many people paid with they came in with the ticket or they paid with cash. Like she's always just on top of her game, man. And
I wish I would have kept track of the people that showed up.
And it helps too to obviously make sure you have like the wristbands. Just go to like Staples and buy those little wristbands. That way you can tell exactly who paid and who didn't pay type thing. And that was always kind of my main thing too. Like Lizzie would be doing her best at the door keeping track, but then I'm also. Sometimes they'll sneak in through the back, like at Whiskey. Somebody opens the door and then they'll just walk in and shit like without paying. And I'm just like, I'll track them down and be like, did you pay? And they're just like, no. I was like, all right, $10 then, like pay up, dude. Here's your little wristband. But like, you just got
And it sucks because it kind of makes you look at a character, It's
it does.
It makes him look like the asshole, but it's like, bro, you should have paid in the first place.
No, absolutely. But, at the same time, like that just, it takes away from you being able to make sure your show is going the way it's supposed to. Cause I mean, your head's elsewhere, not paying attention to the show, but it is what it is. I mean, you're just trying to get the most out of yourself as you can, but it wouldn't hurt to have somebody else that stands by the extra doors where people can potentially sneak in and whatnot. So just kind of pay attention to that. And then my only other thing is what I don't like is when you do shows and you add a certain somebody to a show and then all of a sudden they bring in like crowds of people and then all of a sudden they're like, oh no, they're all with me. They're all with me. It's like, what? like they all can't be with you. I mean, I understand they're your people supporting you, but at the end of the day, like you can't have plus 10. You know, it's
you would think that like if you were that guy bringing in all the people, you would be like, oh, they support me enough to like chip in $10.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like if they're running with me this hardcore, where everybody we stick together that hardcore, then you should be able to pay $10 for the homie. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's weird shit. That's some weirdo stuff. Nah, and then like when people like how I was saying earlier, like when there is an act and then they leave. Like that act leaves before the whole like show closes off, like that messes it up sometimes.
Yeah,
too, you know?
That's another thing I don't like, man. Is just when one of the openers, they have their whole people with them, and it's like a decent crowd, and then they take off, and it's like empty, and it's just like, I mean, that's usually how it goes at my shows. Unfortunately, it's you have once a certain person goes up, the whole crowd disappears, and then it's almost like empty for the main event. It's like the fuck, it's like, but it is what it is. I like the bigger shows that we've been a part of, like in Kansas City. There was a place called the Roxy. Jerry Robinson Fred was co-headlining it with Jerry Robinson's pretty much album release party is what it was.
Really?
But they had like a certain rule where once you go inside, you can't leave. Like you can't just leave. Like once you leave the bar, you can't come back in. Yeah. So it's like one of those like super strict rules that they have, and they have like a little back patio where everybody goes and hangs out, smokes cigarettes, dude.
Like marquee shit.
Yeah, like on the outside, right? But they're to the point where like if you leave like the facility, you can't come back in.
And they do that because of that reason, you think?
I think it's more of like a security thing at the end of the day. Somebody walks out who's to say they're not. They walked out, go grab a gun out of the car or some shit, and walk back in. So I mean, that's yeah. Sure. On a bigger city like that, I understand why they would be super strict like that. But I think if venues started doing something like that, I think it'd make these shows pop off a little bit more. That way, the whole crowd is there the entire time, not just leave and then all of a sudden it's like an empty show by the end.
So what do you think the key is of like making a show pop out here in Sioux City? Like, what do you think it is that we have to like? Because I know there's a show. I'll give them a little shout out right here. I'm not sure what it's called, but I think it's called like The Future, or something like that. At the Dons. I think it might be this weekend or else next weekend.
Okay.
I'm not too sure at all the date, but shout out those guys. But it's like, what is the key to making a good show, and like, what is the key to get everybody coming in? Like, you have also Four Winds. Yeah. That like. That one's pretty popping or at least last year it was pretty popping, And like, what do you think is the difference between that and someone that like flops their show of like, I guess just newcomers,
I don't know, man. I just, at the end of the day, I think if everybody supports the event, then, that's going to draw the crowd. If everybody is happy to be part of the event, everybody's going to do what they can to make sure everybody's there, and it makes the show pop.
Just that determination. You think?
Yeah, I think so. I think some people are more hungry than others. It's just I'm still trying to figure out how to put on a good show, man. Like like I said, I just my specialty is not throwing on shows. I mean, I've never had the best luck throwing on shows. I've had to I'll bring certain national acts out. I'll end up losing, money on it, but it is what it is. I
will say though, like, you try and talk yourself down here, but I will say that the shows are popping though. Like, whether or not there's people there, but like the show itself, like fire, definitely. Because I saw like Bone Crusher didn't get like the craziest love, but like Bone Crusher fucking killed it. You know what I mean? So like, I wish that a lot more people would have seen that one too. But it's just like all these little shows that like you think that be flopping and everything, and like the artist may be flopping it, but it's like, I really do wish that a lot more people came out to these shows because they do deserve a lot more love. And it's just like, if you do love music, man, it's like, it's really cool to get in tune with the local artists. Like, why not? You know what I mean? Like, they're pretty good. Like, sometimes it's like a song where I'm just like, fuck, I play it over and over, even like to the smoke session shit, Like, it really be like that out here in the local. So I don't know why people just seem like, oh, it's a local artist and I don't want to listen to them, It's so weird to me.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, like, I've been to, where Jay, Psychedelic Sidekick, he's headlining his own show. And, when he teams up with Tucson Collective and, dude, they have probably one of the biggest crowds I've seen at a hip hop showcase, which is dope, man.
Yeah.
You know, just I wish I could have turnouts like that. I mean, I really do. So what they're doing is definitely
shout out them. They definitely be out here, you know, making this shit popping.
Yep. So I mean, whatever they're doing is definitely working for them, and you know, props to them, dude. Like for real. I've been to a couple Suicide Collective shows, and fuck, man, they get crazy as fuck too, man. Like it's dope. Like I said, they have it figured out. And like I said, whatever they're doing, they need to keep doing it because it's definitely working. So
you seen all these like artists out here, like how you know, and you're like kind of tapped in. Mm-hmm. What's like for an artist who is looking at this shit right now, what's like the key to like getting big enough to be a part of something like what's it called, Saturday in the Park? You know, like I talk to a lot of artists out here, and that's like that's the goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, have you ever had your artist like perform there or something?
No, man. I'm still trying to figure it out too, man. Yeah. I mean, you know, I figured last year Fred might have been part of the show, but I mean, he wasn't. It is what it is. You know, because I mean, fuck, we last year and the year before, I mean, we did some pretty decent moves. I think. I mean, we recorded a lot of music. We still haven't put it out yet, but. You know, we recorded music. Fred won the hip hop awards choice, the Siouxland local choice awards.
Oh yeah, he did, huh? Yeah, shout out Freddie Fred.
Last year he did, and you know, I figured
was it this year too?
He got second place this year.
Oh, okay. Man, that's good as fuck though.
Yeah, but no, I thought he was going to be on. You know, I figured we'd get reached out to and say, hey, do you want to be part of the show? But unfortunately, we weren't. Unfortunately, we weren't. But I mean, it is what it is. I mean, hopefully this year, you know, it might be the year. Who knows? But
that's why I say that, man. It's like. It's not about like how fucking good you are at a certain point. It's about like who the fuck you know.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It might be that too, man. But you know what? I'm cool with everybody, man. You know, some of the guys that do put on the Saturday in the Park those shows, you know, I'm cool with everybody there. They're all great people, man. Whoever they choose, they probably do it for a reason, and it's always a good turnout no matter what. So
I guess that's true. That's true. It's all right.
But I mean, for a lot of the new upcoming people, you know, just like when you would reach out to me from time to time, dude, like you asked me, I think it was like the baby show down in Lincoln or something like that, right? Was it you?
Was it me?
I think it might have been, but I mean, all you gotta do is just send messages, you know, hit up the venue, hit up the promoter, say, hey, you know, like I want to be a part of what you're doing, you know, where can I fit in? You know, whether you might start off, it's like, well, you know, help us by doing the doors and maybe on the next show we'll throw you on type thing. You know, always do your part and, you
reaching
know.
out a little bit, you know, it's go a long way.
I mean, just reach out and, you know, just reach out to them, do your part. If you got to help out the first couple shows and then eventually they put you onto a show, then, you know, by all means at that point, kill it. But
before you ask to be a part of a show up to the shows.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
support,
that's
man.
Definitely the first thing you got to do. Because me alone, the way I like went about actually like getting a show down at Whiskey Dicks and like getting that shit like all right, where to the point where we made profit that night. You know, for the first show we ever thrown, like that's something that's cool as fuck. And like I don't talk to cats like that all day. You know what I mean? Like I'm usually in a homebody kind of guy.
Yeah.
So it's like that was pretty cool that people really came out and they supported the fuck out of us. But it's like the guy from Whiskey Dicks was like, yo, we have another opening here. You know, if you want to throw another show, like. Bro, the fact of like just doing that shit here in Sioux City is something that I really want to get popping, like where it's like somebody like myself can get artists that they know and like bring these local artists up. And I'm trying to like think of a way to like give more of a shout out to the upcoming like rappers and shit, you know? Like there's a lot of kids, like I'll shout out 7 Squad for one, like they're young as fuck and they're actually like popping as fuck out here, you know?
Right.
So it's like to get someone like them a little more of an advantage while they're coming up and be like those pioneers for like the younger generation. Like,
right.
I guess that's kind of like what it's about, like at this point, you know?
Yeah, I mean they're killing it. They've been added to a lot of shows recently, so I mean they're doing their thing, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's just my advice for a lot of new upcoming people is just like ask, get a hold of the promoters, venues, whatever you got to do, and then ask them how you can help, whether it's being part of the show or. Like I said, helping at the doors and shit like that too. So
I was just showing up at shows and like
show support, man.
That's all I was doing is just showing support and like just showing up and being a part of some shit and just like you talk to people and you get to know who's who and you're just like, oh shit, all right, like Daniel, cool. That's how I met you, you know? I was just like, oh, shit, what's good? And you're like, oh, Daniel. I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
What's up?
No, and then I guess another advice is, like, don't be an asshole about it because, like, you know, a lot of the new upcoming rappers, like, if they get asked to be the very first opening act, nobody ever wants to do it. It is what it is. It's, you know, everybody wants to get, like, the best possible slot they can. But, like, when a lot of these people start throwing, you know, a lot of these rappers start throwing fits that, oh, shit, I'm the opening act. Nobody's going to be there. So what, dude? You're part of the show. You know, like, that's step one. You know, you're part of the show. You know, on the next, once we add you to the second show, you'll probably be slot number 2. Then eventually it gets to the point where, like, you know, as long as you're doing your part at pushing the show really hard, selling your tickets, doing what you need to do, I mean, you'll be all right. But
do you think that, like, performing, because another thing I also heard is, like, performing too much could be a bad thing as well. Like, too many shows out here.
Yep. And I think that's probably, like, one of the biggest mistakes Fred and I ever did is just, dude, I mean, we're just always so happy to perform that we don't realize it, but we'll perform like 20 times in Sioux City in 1 year. Like, I mean, and it is just, it gets to the point where, like, okay, that's too much in Sioux City. So, I mean, you can overperform in your own city. It gets to the point where, like, oh, I've already seen them perform, you know, what's new type shit. So, you know, when I see people like Jay, you know, he's holding off for whether it's his own shows or, you know, maybe being a part of a bigger show, I completely understand because, you know, he wants to do what he can to be able to bring in the most people, which is dope. You know, I mean, that's what you want.
Does make sense.
So whenever Fred and I would do a show, like I said, dude, we did so many shows to get to the point where, like, it's hard for us to sell tickets because it's like, fuck, we did so much in Sioux City to the point like we're like, we have a hard time bringing out our own people type thing, you know. But I mean, there is such a thing as overperforming in your own city. So, and
you being a part of all this stuff. So what's up to come from you? You know, what do we expect? What can we see to expect from you, Daniel, like, coming up in these, like, upcoming years? Like, where's the direction of your career do you think that you're trying to go with?
You know, personally, I personally think it's at my downfall, man. You know, I'm getting old. So? I think so. Like, I'm getting old. Shit, no, like, man. You know, I mean, I've had my fun with it, bro. Like, I mean, I've been in it since 2017. I may always be in it, but I mean, I personally think I'm at my fucking downfall, man, or my steady rate, you know, because, you know, I'm going to be 28 or I'm going to be 29 this year. You know, I got my kids. That keeps me super busy all the time. You know, I got my full-time job. You know, I don't know, like, I just want to, you know, Fred's pushing 32 years old, man. You know, in the next couple of years, the guy's going to be 34, 35. Then it's just like, shit, you know, then we're just getting to the point where we might just be getting too old for this shit. If we're not making any money, then at this point it's just more of a hobby instead of trying to take it serious, you know. But it's also a fun hobby too. But, you know, I just started working with this other cat named Gavin Purgett. He's part of the Stitch 9 band. He's the lead singer for Stitch 9. You know, I started working with him on some hip hop stuff because, I mean, he's a dope rapper, man. If you haven't looked him up, I mean, look him up because,
shout out.
You know, this kid's I think this kid's gonna do some damage. You know, the energy that we've done on some of the new songs that we recorded last week. We went down to Kansas City last week, and I couldn't post on it because I got fucking Facebook banned. But
really, what you be getting Facebook banned for?
Oh, bro. So at the Tame and Ray, he posted this thing saying, hey, as soon as I'm done performing, I might just jump off stage and go watch the new Batman movie or whatever. And then but he was just joking around, but I commented on there saying, like, you know, if you do, I'm going to throat punch you. And then in my Batman voice, ask you know, where are you going? Yeah. But Facebook flagged me for that.
Hell no, you don't punch who?
Yeah. You know, it's like Facebook flagged me for that. And I was banned for like 3 days. So I couldn't even promote I couldn't promote the show. I couldn't do nothing. But yeah, no, the day after that, we ended up driving down to Kansas City with Gavin, and, you know, he, like I said, he was killing it. So,
that's cool.
But yeah, no, that's my actual go-to guy now down in Kansas City, Rob Rebeck, which, I mean, the guy's an absolute legend. Yeah,
shout out Rob.
He declines it, but the guy's a legend, man. He was Tech Nine's engineer for like 12 years.
Really?
So,
oh, wow. Yeah, so 12 fucking years, yo.
Yeah. So the guy knows his shit.
Damn, that's some Midwest shit, huh? Like, we out here in Kansas City.
Oh, dude, yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, he's, like I said, he's the GOAT, man. He's the fucking GOAT.
Who do you think? What? This is the last question I ask you, but what do you think? Who's the rapper that represents the Midwest right now?
the rapper that represents the Midwest, bro, that's Tech Nine all day, man.
Yeah, right.
He's the Midwest king, bro. Like, there's no topping that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the guy just made the Forbes list. You know, I feel
like after him, it's just like someone else from his record label. You know, it's like they're pretty popping off of that.
You got Tech. And then you got King ISO.
King ISO doing some damage too.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. Hell yeah. You know, you got everybody, dude. I mean, all the Spanish music cats, I mean, they're the number one independent record label for a reason. You know, you got people like Joey Cool, King ISO, Jerry Robinson. You know, the whole team is stacked. I mean, the whole label's stacked. So, I mean, I think they're just the Midwest industry leaders, man. But you also got some of these other cats that I never even heard of, but I mean, they're getting co-signed by some of these major artists too. Like, I think some girl from Omaha just got co-signed by Cardi B. I don't know what her name is, but like if you Facebook it, you'll be able to find it. Like I said, I can't remember her name, but shit. Yeah, she was.
She do hip hop or?
I think she's hip hop. Really? I think she's a rapper, or she might be a singer. One of the two. But I think I mean Cardi B like co-signed her, and But yeah, no, I think those guys are. I think those guys are probably the best people out of the Midwest too, man. So.
Yeah. What's the last message that you have to the folks out there looking at you? Because like I know a lot of people are going to watch this interview because a lot of people are interested in like into your life, you know, because you are a big player out here. I'm telling you, like a lot of people do respect you out here. You know what I mean? So it's like, what's the last message that you want to tell the folks out here?
Shit, bro. I mean, I guess don't do what I did, man. I got, you know. At the time when I had 4-1 records, dude, my head was way too big, and it got into the way of a lot of things, and I do regret, you know, doing a lot of things that I did when I had my record label, bro. Like I wish I can take a lot of shit back, but it is what it is, and that's what makes you a better person. But always be humble about everything, man. Like every opportunity, just be grateful for every opportunity. You know, I mean, just don't get in your own head thinking that you're better than everybody else. Cause at the end of the day, that's going to be your biggest downfall. And I mean, it can be a quick downfall as well too. But yeah, dude, always just be humble for every opportunity you're given. If something doesn't go your way, don't throw fits about it, man, but just keep it to yourself and keep
double up.
Yeah. I mean, double up at that point, you know, keep your head down, keep doing, you know, keep your head down, work. And people will notice that you're people will see that you're working, man. But
definitely,
I mean, yeah, that's just probably one of my biggest messages, dude. Just always be humble. Don't ever think you're better than the next person. Cause at the end of the day, you all bleed red you know, everybody's blood is red at the end of the day.
Right.
You know? So yeah, I mean, really, that's really my last message, I guess. So.
Hey, man, that's some game for us, for real. Like, definitely, like, something to really think about, you know, and, like, incorporate and correlate with your life. But that's all for us, man. The Nasty Collective podcast, bro. We got Daniel, and we appreciate y'all. Doses. We out. Hell yeah. And that's a wrap, man.